So we look at the hotel. We don't have any video and stuff. It was all, that stuff was
Well, this
all.
is in the early 90s, right?
This was in 2002.
Oh, 2000. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
2002. So
So
even
we
then,
didn't
it
have.
wasn't like now with this video everywhere.
Yeah, no, there was no real video with that. But a little old school piece of paper helped us out quite a bit. Remember, we used to go to hotels and they give you the printout of the phone call you made, the movie you ordered, and stuff like that. Well, we got that, and that was the
smoking gun.
That was it. That was the blueprint. That you could frame that and say this is how it went from there.
Right.
Which was pretty. I don't want to say funny, but it was good. It was good stuff.
Right. Well, it's funny, in some homicides, you can't believe how everything goes right, and in other homicides, you can't believe how everything goes wrong.
I know, and with a case like this, now that we have the subject, or we believe he's looming as the guy, although we don't have anything real hot at that point. He's in jail, so we can't go talk to him, which is probably a good thing. We're not. The squad boss that was running the case was Eddie Allange. I was a cop with him in 6-7, good guy. He got it. So everything was running smooth. There was no, and the fact that he was in jail, our subject, we can't talk to him. He has pending cases. I don't know if the viewers know that. But you could speak to people in jail. If they have pending cases, you can't.
They have an attorney. Yeah, they have an
attorney. Right, you can't speak to them. They have an attorney test, so you can't speak to them.
Right.
So as we're looking into that note or that piece of paper, the hotel record, we see a bunch of phone calls that he made. And one of them was to a girl who lived in Bushwick, and he called her, or maybe, I don't know, maybe half a dozen at least, maybe 10 times the couple of nights he was in there. There were a couple other phone calls, maybe about 4 or 5 phone calls. Mm-hmm. But that one in particular was the first call he made, I believe, right out of the hotel from when he got there. And he had called her several times. So we ran her, came up with nothing. Didn't know really how she fit in. She lived on the opposite, she lived in Bushwick on the opposite end of Brooklyn. So we really didn't have any idea why would he be calling her type thing. Mm-hmm. So we decided one day, so we got to go ask her, do you know this guy and why is he calling you? So we go over to her home, we set up on a house, she comes out, we approach, speak to her, tell her who we are. Do you mind coming back to the squad? She comes back to the squad. And then she drops the bomb. She tells us that she had met this white boy, John, at Gerritsen Beach, at Manhattan Beach over the summer, and that he kept trying to date her and kept trying to come see her and all that.
You wanted to take it to the Gateway Hotel, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. A gentleman doesn't ask those questions when he's speaking to a lady like we were, so we left that alone. But
that's right.
But we did ask her, okay, so tell us about this guy. And she said she met him at the beach, and he's, keeps coming over to my house. He's trying to date me. He's trying to go out. And he keeps, telling me what a gangster he is, what a tough guy. And the boys of Bushwick aren't buying.
They're not buying that tough guy thing.
No, he's like, and even, a lot of guys from the South projects, they'd last, maybe a week in Brownsville, or something like that. So
right.
He's trying to really play himself off in Bushwick, and it's really not going over well. But the girl is very pretty, and he's trying to, date her hard. So, but again, the theme, here he is coming all the way up across town to meet her and tell her what a tough guy is and this, that, and the other thing. So getting on to the story, she says one day, and this is going back right around the time Alex was last seen and missing, that white boy John came over to the house, coming in with her house, and that there was a black guy in the back seat of the car. She didn't know who he was, but he's a friend of mine, and let's take a ride. And white boy John driving, the black kid, and this young lady take a ride. They're over by Easton High School over in Bushwick, Easton District High School, and he pulls over, and he goes to his trunk and he comes out with a big assault rifle, and he just starts hammering the black kid, shoots him a bunch of times, jumps in the car, takes off. She's in the car. The guy in the back shot up is in the car, and she's in like complete shock. She doesn't know what the hell was, going on or what the hell happened. And the car stops at a red light, and she jumps out and runs home. Never saw him again after that, but he did call her, from the hotel and a bunch of times trying to see if she was going to talk and all this type of stuff.
But Mike, not the funny thing, but in reading some of the notes to this case, I did take note that she never called the police.
No, why would you?
You know what I mean? Like, usually that's the thing. If you witness a murder and you're not involved in it,
you know what, though? She's not the only one, as you well know.
Yeah.
A lot of people would, but a lot of people wouldn't.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, you know what? I think it was one of these things. I knew you were coming,
Yeah. Oh, now that you asked, I did witness a murder.
Yeah, I'm not going to come in.
But had you not asked, I would have never told.
Right. But if you're going to come and ask me, I'll tell you. But,
well,
why am I going to take a ride to the precinct? So with that, we're like, wow, now we have an eyewitness to the case. And being that she was cooperative, we spoke to her a little bit more. And so we asked her, so when he called, well, he was trying to see if I would talk and all that. And what did he ever tell you? What the first thing, that came to mind is like, okay, what did he say he did afterwards? Well, he got rid of the body with his friend. And okay, who's his friend? I don't know. I met him once or twice. He's an old junkie, lives over near Bedford Avenue. His name is Dominic. I said, Now, a couple of years before that, a friend of mine that retired went to the IG's office, asked me to look into a case. And I happened to run into this Dominic during that case. I had to interview him regarding the old case. So I'm like, does this guy happen to have like big hands? Because this guy had like big hands, like Mickey Mouse hands or Mr. hands, like the big giant hands, fingers in that. So she's like, yeah, he does. I said, okay, I know who that is.
It's amazing, right? Just working there.
It's big city, and
there's lots of people with big hands, but this is Dominic.
This happens to be big enough. So we got that, and we also asked her about the car. We know White Boy John had a car, where it was. No, he rents cars from a place on McDonald Avenue where a lot of these drug dealer types go and rent cars for work and whatnot.
Put in some work. He wanted to put in some work.
So, all right. So now we got an eyewitness, but we want more and need more. To tighten everything up. So what we do is first we go to Dominic, and now this all takes like place over. It's not like next day.
No.
It took about 6 months, I guess, for the whole process. But we had went to
and is he
scooped
still
up
on?
Dominic.
Is White Boy? He's still in Rikers?
He's still in. We got a hold on him in the event. Something happens with this case, or he's going to be bailed or whatever. We'd be there.
Right, so you can take your time because he's been.
Yeah, there's no.
Nice.
Yeah, he's really taking it easy, not knowing what's coming, which is good. We didn't, we believed he didn't know that he didn't know, that something was coming down the pipe. Yeah. But so we move on to Dominic, and Dominic, who, like I said, I've met before. And all right, Dominic, what happened? Well, he tells us. He tells us that one night, here comes White Boy John, pulls up in a car with the bird. He calls it the body of the bird. He never say the word body, but he kept saying the bird. I don't know if maybe it's like an old film noir term or something, but he was like an old school guy. But he says he comes by and he's got this guy, and he's got the bird, and he's shot up, he's dead, and he needs help wrapping him up. So they get some plastic bags and tape, and they wrap him up real good. And this is all going on, with the, from driving from Bushwick to back to Sheepshead Bay, where Dominic lives, with a dead guy sitting next to you. You know what I mean? Would have been a hell of a car stop for a radio car, right? What's the matter with your friend there?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It's
you know,
Uncle Bernie.
yeah. So, yeah, so Dominic and they wrap up the body and they drive down the block to Emmons Avenue, where there's a footbridge that goes over the canal, and they throw the body in the ocean, and that's it until today. Till,
So it washes up.
yes, till it washes up, and he wasn't even aware it washed up. I don't think he
And
was.
Mike, could you tell our listeners why the NYPD calls a floater a floater? You know that story?
I didn't know there was a story.
Well, there's a reason it's called a floater.
No, what is that?
Well, because when a body first goes into the water, it sinks to the bottom. And
Right.
once the gases build up, it
Okay.
floats to the top and it floats. That's how it.
Wherever.
Just wanted to give you some NYPD history.
Yeah, okay. All right, that makes sense. I like it. Okay. All right.
You learn something new every day, right?
Yes, believe me. Yeah, you got it. So where was I now? Okay, so we have
They
Dominic.
threw him off the bridge.
We threw him off the bridge, and now we have a couple other things we're looking at. One of them being the rental car, and now we don't have the exact time of occurrence. The girl from Bushwick, Dominic, the sister and mom. We couldn't really pinpoint like it happened on a certain date, but we had it pretty much narrowed down. We went to the crime scene by the high school up in Bushwick, hoping to find some ballistic, maybe, a shell was lying around or
Right.
Some holes. There was a guardrail and fencing around by the athletic field, maybe, but we didn't come up with anything.
Right.
But we did have the person who dumped the body, and then we went to the rental car company on McDonald Avenue. And we spoke to the manager or the owner of the place, told him we were looking for a car that was rented from, let's say this date to that date, or maybe a week's time period. Now, we didn't see any names belonging to any of our subjects, but I did notice a name, and I remembered the name because when I had looked at the hotel sheet, it's the name of a close friend of mine.
Uh-huh.
And I saw that he had called this person once on the hotel record. And so the name stuck in my head when I'm looking at the cars rented. Boom, there's the person's name.
Now, did White Boy John have a credit card in the name of White Boy John to rent that car, or what?
No, he used a legit guy.
Oh, okay.
Who had a driver's license and insurance and all that kind of stuff, who had paperwork, and said, you rent the car.
I could just see, like the American Express
Yeah.
White Boy John, member since 19.
Yeah. I'm sure they're out there, right along with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and everybody else's cards, Why get one in your right name, right?
Yeah.
Who does that?
That's right.
Crazy, So, that's why we caught a break with this case, because it was an older case. We didn't have to deal with cell phones belonging to who and cell towers and all that kind of stuff.